Welcome to the Lancashire town with the cobbled streets. Oh well, okay, Burnley's not the only town with cobbled streets, but it's the one we're going to today because of the Burnley Bungalow project. Well, this man is clearly wiring up some electrics, but where is he? Well, the answer to that is he's above the bathroom with the stretch ceiling, remote-controlled lighting. And this is very much old school in my eyes. I don't do things like this anymore. I use a lot of wireless technology to make things work. But here it is, all hardwired in the way it's been done for decades. And the main thing about that is it's guaranteed to work. The next thing that Steve wants to guarantee is that this is the most insulated property in the whole of Burnley. Yes, he's insulated everything everywhere and has used some of the thickest insulation you'll ever see. And if that wasn't enough, he's filled it in with expanding foam everywhere it's needed. He's taped up all the joints so there's no air gaps. So this is an airtight, highly insulated building, which hopefully should cost zero to run. This is a frame that's going to be behind the wall and is going to hold one of the TVs. This is a smaller TV, not the main living room one. And notice the way that that's also filled with an expanding foam, and the wiring is in place, the back boxes for the sockets. Everything's been thought of here so that when it all gets finally put together, there won't be anything showing at all. Now we're going to go outside because the garden hasn't been started yet, but the design has been done. Now I'll show you the garden design at a later stage, but let's make the preparations for it first. And that involves cutting a hole in this front wall, getting rid of loads and loads of rubble, but it's not going to be a problem. We're in the back garden, of course, and it's not easy to take rubble through down the side passage to the front, but don't worry, it's all going to stay here, as you'll see. It's going to get piled up in front of this wall, and then we're going to bring in the rhino. The rhino is going to take care of the bricks and the concrete and everything else that comes out of here and turn it into something useful. Over the 2 years we've been following this renovation, you'll have seen various different machines at work, and I feel that that's really the secret of the success here, of being able to get the things done the way you want them. Having the right machinery, the right tools and the right people is extremely important. Now this digger wouldn't be much use without its caterpillar tracks because it's having to ride over all the rubble all the time. Later on I'll show you a JCB that I saw which is able to walk round on stilts. Well, not walk, okay. Well, I told you we had a rhino arriving and it's here, and as you can see you put the bricks and concrete in at one end and out the other end comes quite a fine little bit of hardcore that you're going to be able to use for the hard landscaping later. This machine is so useful I can't understand why I haven't seen one before. There are larger and smaller versions of this, and I think it's so good that it deserves a song about it, so I've asked Suno to write us some lyrics.
Steel boots in the gravel, steam breath in the cold grey air. Digger teeth by the morning, scrapers drag the ground back bare. Tipper trucks queue in a circle, engines hum like a rough old choir. We're carving out a clean foundation for grass and trees and winding wire. Red rhino, roll and grind it down, bricks to stone. shore.
Well, I already said that you can't easily move all the rubble out down the side path alongside the bungalow, so how do you get a machine this size in? Answer, you bring it through Burnley Woods.
Concrete slabs, old walls falling, shovel loads will rattle a slide. Bucket swing past orange fence and tracks press lines in the hillside. Laser lines mark out the levels, spray paint arrows in the clay. We break it up, we crush it smaller, gardens, bones we're laying today. Red rhino rolling, grind it down, bricks to stone from block to ground. Feed that hopper, hear it chew, turning old to strong and new. Red rhino rolling steady, slow, from broken heaps to beds that grow. All this rubble, dust and roar becomes hardcore, we'll build on shore.
Whoa, it just fits through there.
One day ponds here, one day shade. Kids on paths where trenches were made. We see hedges in this dust. Red rhino sings in soil we trust. Hey! 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 Red rhino rolling, grind it down, bricks to stone from block to ground. Feed that hopper, hear it chew, turning old to strong and new. Red rhino rolling steady, slow, from broken heaps to beds that grow. All this sweat and shaking floor becomes hardcore, we'll build on shore.
So it's not actually an autonomous vehicle, it's got a man remote controlling it, but who knows, one day you might be able to set this thing free. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, they're levelling it all out, ready to have its garden put on top. And this is the point at which I came to visit with my own camera, and I stepped out of the building, and there it was ahead of me, completely flattened and ready to take the garden design. I'm going to save the garden design until later because it's another story altogether. Here's that JCB I was telling you about. So while we were sitting there, we noticed there were a couple of ducks walking about. One of them passed by while I was filming the JCB. Now here's a vehicle that does appear to be autonomous, although it is actually remote controlled from a computer somewhere. And these little gemmers have been bought by Uber Eats to make deliveries for them. So Emma turns up at the food venue, collects the food for delivery, makes her way through the streets, avoiding all the obstacles, all the traffic, seems to be even aware of the traffic lights, and eventually turns up at the home of the person who's getting the food, who presumably has been given a text or some notification to come out and enter the code he's been given to get his food out of Emma. Thank you, Emma. Bye. Now here's another robot that I spotted when I was shopping in Morrison's. I just came in to get a bit of takeaway lunch, and this one was wandering around the store cleaning the floors. Very clever indeed, because it obviously sees ahead of itself, it waits for people to come through gaps, just works its way around the store. Well, it appears to be autonomous to me. Back in the 60s, the BBC had a programme called Tomorrow's World, in which they told us a lot about the future, or the future as we thought it would be, and they introduced Able Mabel. Is it my imagination, or are all these robots feminine? Is that sexist? So, Able Mabel, bit creepy, wakes you up in the morning with a cup of tea, was able to do all the housework, and the robot hoovering that was going on was nothing like the robot hoovering that goes on today, of course, because nobody thought that far ahead. So yes, polishing, dusting, cooking, washing up, even ironing? We could do with that robot right now. One thing that is the same as the modern robot vacs is it plugs itself in when it needs recharging. They do that, don't they? I believe they were predicting that Able Mabel would be available within 10 years, and they said that 1976 was going to be the year when everybody had a home robot.
It looks primitive, but so did the first motor car.
I expect most of you are familiar with these. These are actual robot vacuum cleaners that we have today. They do all sorts of things that were never thought of back in the 60s, but they do plug in and recharge themselves. Unfortunately, they still don't do the ironing. Apparently we are getting nearer to a real robot housemaid. This prototype model was actually built 2 years ago, and they're saying it won't be long coming to market. How do we know that this advert wasn't an AI? And using AI, I can make their robot sing in front of my van. That van went to the scrapyard 10 years ago.
Thank you for watching. I Kiss. Goodbye.
Whereas the robot, you can Google it, is in development.